Okay, so we're into teams that are in the playoffs, and if anyone was wondering, underneath the jersey, I'm wearing a Star Wars T-shirt because it's May the 4th, as I record this. Um, I'm going to start with the Kings because the Kings are an interesting issue. There's an issue. The Kings made the playoffs this year, which is great. Then they got swept, which isn't great. So they're kind of stuck in the same limbo right now that the Blackhawks were in last summer. And they have to be careful what they do from here. Now, for cap hits, there's a lot of money being spent right now. Kopitar makes $10 million till 2023-2024. I know all Kings fans love Kopitar. I do think that's a lot of money. Brown, $5.875 million till 2021-2022. Jeff Carter, $5.2 million till 2021-2022. Toffoli, $4.6 million till 2019-2020. Pearson, $3.75 million till 2020-2021. And are those 5 of the top 6 that are going to get better? Or do they need some infusion of young talent in that top 6? We'll get into that. Lewis, $2 million till 2019-2020. Toby Reeder's an RFA with arbitration rights this summer. Reeder came over from Arizona with the idea that he would help their depth scoring. And I don't know that it was a huge success in LA, nor do I know what they're going to offer him in arbitration, but they're limited in what they can offer in arbitration because they don't have a lot of cap space. And they have some guys to re-sign. Nate Thompson, $1.65 million for another year. Kyle Clifford, $1.6 million for 2 more years. Torrey Mitchell's UFA this summer. They'll probably let him go. Rempel, 1 more year, $925K. Iafallo, 1 more year at $925K. Adrian Kempe, $894K for 1 more year. Andreoff has $677K as his cap hit for 1 more year when he becomes a UFA. So up front, I don't know. This is a team that really struggled to score in the first round against Vegas. And you can chalk that up to Marc-Andre Fleury. You can say, yep, that's fine because Fleury was in the zone. Or you can look and say, geez, they need something new up front. So it depends on how you view it. The big name on this board is Drew Doughty. $7 million. He is unrestricted next summer. They can start negotiating with him this year, and I would imagine they will. Now, Doughty's already said he wants money, so I'm guessing $11 million minimum. They have $9.5 million in cap space. If the cap goes up to $80 million this summer, that's it. $9.5 million. Because where they were at this year, they had $2.9 million in cap space at the end of the year, and right now they project to have $4.5 million in cap space. Not much cap coming off, and honestly, Reeder, if they keep him, he's going to make $1 million or $2 million a year. I'm guessing $2 million plus, which is going to make that a $7.5 million in cap space. And Doughty's contract could be big. Dion Phaneuf, $5.25 million for 3 more years. Martinez, $4 million for 2 more years. Muzzin, $4 million for 2 more years. Daniel Brickley shows up on the chart here as 1 more year at $925K. Christian Folan's UFA, and I don't know that they bring him back. Forbert, $2.525 million for 2 years. And then Kevin Gravel is a UFA this summer. I would imagine they bring him back. But it'll be interesting to see what happens there because, again, they have very limited funds to spend. Dean Lombardi got fired in part due to all these contracts. And even though they rid themselves of Marian Gaborik, they also picked up Dion Phaneuf. So they didn't really do themselves any favors. Even with retained salary on the other side of it, it's still not a great contract. Jonathan Quick makes $5.8 million until 2022-2023, which is good. Jonathan Quick at $5.8 million is a bargain if he's healthy, which is Carter up here. That's the thing with him too. Carter's a bargain if he's healthy. Jack Campbell has two more years at $675K. Of course, Campbell came in towards the end of the year when they got rid of Darcy Kemper, which some of us saw as being kind of baffling, but Campbell played really well. So if Campbell can keep that up, then their goaltending is both cheap and reliable. It's hard to find both. Restricted free agent with arbitration rights this year is Fantenberg. Be interesting to see what happens with him. And Paul Ledoux is restricted free agent with arbitration rights. I would expect him to be in the roster full-time next year, and it'll be interesting to see what they get. Now, as purely as a Canuck fan and as a guy who's watched the Subban brothers, what happens to Jordan Subban this summer as a restricted free agent? Subban, of course, came over in the deal from Vancouver for Nick Dowd, and his numbers for the Ontario Reign were underwhelming. Subban is pure offense. He is not a defensive defenseman on any level, and he won't claim to be. When he was drafted, PK said that he was the most talented of the three brothers, but I believe he had 8 points in 34 games with the Ontario Reign. That doesn't get it done. To me, I don't think Subban's an NHL level defenseman, but if they don't, and here's the thing with restricted free agency. If the LA Kings don't give a guy a qualifying offer, meaning they have to give an offer to a restricted free agent, like here's what we're willing to give you. If a qualifying offer is not made for Subban, he goes as an unrestricted free agent. So do they qualify him? And that's a question I legitimately wonder what they're going to do. Amadio is a guy I was very impressed with towards the end of the year, and $717K. He's in the minors right now, but one more year at $717K. Helps here, but my issue is this. So you've got Kopitar and Brown, who are older by NHL standards now. Okay, by current NHL standards, they're older. Brown had a really solid year, but are you counting on that again next year? Or did he just get off to a really good start, and are we back to more of what Dustin Brown was before? Did the coach make that big of a difference, or next year does he revert? That's something you have to ask yourself. Gabe Vilardi. Is Vilardi going to push for a job next year? Is he going to help increase the speed and the youth on this team? The Kings, to me, look like a team that's about to go into a retool, not necessarily a rebuild. Think along the lines of what the Rangers are going through, where it's not considered to be a full rebuild. And the big question becomes, what do they do with Drew Doughty? Does Doughty stay with the Kings, or does Doughty get moved out? And what could you get back right now for a Drew Doughty on the market? Honestly, you could probably get a mint for Drew Doughty. But it'll be interesting to see what they do this summer, because if they give him a big raise and it eats into cap space, they can't really afford to do what they may need to do to fix some of the problems they have. And when you get swept in the first round, I don't care why or who sweeps you in the first round, you do have something you need to fix. Chicago tried to fix it by going back to the past, and it didn't work. And it'll be interesting to see what the Kings do in this year's offseason to try to fix it, because there's a new brain trust for the LA Kings. And so far, I've liked what they've done. They got the Kings back to the playoffs. Now it's a matter of getting them back to being contenders. And do you need to do a teardown for that to happen? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.